Hello and good evening to the first session on personal finance. So a lot of you have seen the Paytm video that was released last week, and that video was ideally about the gap between men and women and how we plan our personal finance. So this was a social experiment that was done, and they had about 30 individuals, adults, and they asked them a series of questions like, were you taught personal finance? It starts with very easy questions like, were you taught how to learn a bicycle? Were you taught how to iron your clothes? And in the beginning of the experiment, all of these were moving together forward, like men and women were answering and they were moving forward. But once the questions became more intense, once people started asking them about, do you know about your circle rate? Do you follow the budget? That's when we noticed that there was a gap that began to form. Now, this gap, when I thought about it, it starts not when you're in school, not when you're in college, but it starts when we start working, when we actually start making our own finances, our own financial decisions. So where is this gap come that women are not as competent or as confident as the men in making these financial decisions? And that's when it really hit me that, okay, as an Indian woman, what am I doing for other Indian women to come up, to come ahead and stand at the top of the line? So if you are someone who wants to know how to manage your personal finances or how to get ahead, why is it that only men are taking these decisions? Why can't we women also take decisions regarding our finances? So today, my objective with this video, with coming live, is to reach out to other women in this sphere, women who are financially independent yet do not manage their own finances, women who want to know more about how to manage their finances, as well as women who generally have no idea where to get started, because taking financial decisions can be a little overwhelming. So I just want to break down into a few small steps that each of you can do. And these are things that I learned through experience, through managing finance for both myself as well as for clients. So in today's video, I'm only going to go through the videos through the questions that they asked in the Paytm video. So we'll go step by step through the questions. I already see a few of the ladies already signed in. Hi, Akila. Hi, Amrita. Hi, Angela. Thank you for coming to this live event. And let's get started with a few of the questions that even I felt that, okay, do I really know this? So the first question that they asked was about, did you learn how to ride a bicycle? Did you learn music? So let's go into the more serious questions. Do you make household bill payments yourself? So I would say I'm aware of the household bill payments, but do I personally make them? May not be. So I'm aware that as an Indian woman who lives in India, the normal monthly bills that have to be paid would be your electricity bill, if you're living in a rented apartment, your rent, your electricity, your water. If you are staying in your own house, you might have a mortgage, you might have a housing loan bill that has to be paid. So the first thing, if you want to learn or be aware, is just find out what are the bills that need to be paid between you and your husband or you and your parents, depending on what or if you live by yourself, what are the bills that you need to pay this month? Okay, find out how these bills are being paid online. We are way past the phase where people actually go to the electricity department to pay the electric bills. Nobody does that anymore. So find out, how do you get your consumer number? Now, when you pay your KSEB electricity bill, you need to log in with a consumer number. Are you aware of what is your household's consumer number? So just look at a KSEB electricity bill, see where is the consumer number, go to the KSEB website, check how do you do a bill payment. Okay. This month, maybe you can volunteer or tell your husband, okay, I will sit with you or I will log in and do the payments for this month. So you can start by making an electricity bill payment. Charge your own telephone. I'm assuming everybody does their own recharges, but if you are not the one who's recharging your own mobile phone, take the initiative and recharge your own mobile phone. Okay, so just the first thing that you have to do is be aware of what are the household bills. Now, these bills are what would come regardless of whether you are staying in the house or not. So your electricity bill, you will have to pay meter charges even if you are not staying in the apartment. So electricity you would have to know about. Also, apart from bill payments, know what are the monthly debits. So maybe your husband has already invested in mutual funds for you, or you have an insurance that is being invested in your name. Know what are the automatic debits that are happening from your account. Now, our financial year just ended last week. Take out your own bank statement. You would have received it via email, your bank statement year ending March 31st. Check what are the bank charges, what interest have you received, how many bank accounts do you have. So you need to be aware of how many bank accounts you own. Check what are the charges that are being levied on it, and just be aware of what has been deducted from your bank account, what has been added. You also received interest for your bank this last financial year. So also be aware what interest has come in. That's over and above your salary, that's over and above any investments that you've made. You would have received bank interest. Okay, so the first one is, first step, check what bill payments are there. Make your bill payments yourself this month. Then there was, are you aware of the circle rate in your area? Now, circle rate, maybe the term that is used in other parts of India. In Kerala, I know that we place land value, and land value is measured in ARE or square feet terms. So this, I'm guilty. I was not aware of the circle rate in my area as well. So I had to do a Google search, and I found out that in Kerala, you need to find out what is the fair value of land. So it may not be circle rate, it is called fair value of land. You can do this by going into the website igrkerala.government.in. On that website, if you enter which taluk, like for example, Kerala, Ernakulam, Fort Kochi, or wherever it is that you stay, you will receive the rate of land in that area. So I did a little calculation. Approximately 1,000 square foot plot, okay, which has an entrance to the road, would cost you about 15 lakhs. So if you have buying a house on your goals to do this year, then you should be aware that 1,000 square foot plot of land which has access to a road starts at 15 lakhs. So if you're not aware, that is the price of land in Kerala now. Okay, and then are you aware of the price of gold? Now, as a woman, I know there are majority women on this live stream right now. Most of us wear gold every day, and we are aware of the price of gold. But in case if you are not aware, gold is currently priced at 46,000. It was 57,000 last year. Last August, gold went right up to 57,000 for 10 grams. It's come down to 46,000. Now, a lot of, I was checking a few YouTube video comments from people based on after the Paytm video came out. So a lot of them said women are not, if women are afraid of making investments, they'd rather just buy gold. But I want to disagree with that. I don't think all women only buy gold. I think that was something that happened maybe a generation or 2 generations before us, where the emphasis was on gold. Nowadays, I think women are diversifying. In case if you haven't started diversifying with your investments, think about it. If you bought a gold chain last year during COVID for 10 grams, you paid 57,000. That same gold chain has come down by 10,000 rupees because it's only 46,000 now. So if you thought buying gold during COVID was an investment for you, and if that has come down by 10,000 and gold is seeing a downtrend, then gold may not always be a secure form to invest in. But regardless to say, gold is a good investment if you're wearing it as jewelry, or even if you need to take a sudden gold loan, which is quite common in Kerala, you can use gold to hedge. But gold as a long-term investment, I do not see it taking very much into the future, especially with my generation and the generations coming up, where we don't really have that craze for gold. So in case if you're wondering if gold is a good investment, if you like to wear the jewelry, buy it. But if you're looking at an investment point of view, I think there are other better options for us as women nowadays. Okay. The next question that they asked is, are you aware of the exact breakup of your salary? So this is for women who are salaried in India. When you look at your salary slip, you need to look at what is your basic, what are your allowances, what is your HR allowance, what is the different cuts that they have. You will have a PF that is going from your account and gratuity. Now, the government has changed some rules regarding PF and regarding how much money is gone towards provident fund, how much are the taxations. So depending on where your where your salary slab is and your tax slab is, it would be good if you go through your own salary slip, speak to the HR of your company, and find out how much tax are you paying, whether you need to have some investment in case you are over the tax bracket, whether you can do some tax saving. So this year I would like the women to dedicate a little time, at least 1 hour in a month, to just understand your own finances. And just sit, the next time you receive your form 16, the next time you receive your salary slip, just go through every point and understand. If you have a question, Google it, find out what each cut is, or even ask your HR. I'm sure they will be more than happy to tell you what your salary slip stands for. Okay. Do you know the details of the financial documents you are asked to sign? Now, as a woman, you would have signed different kinds of financial documents. You could have signed for your offer letter for your job, agreeing to a certain salary. You could have signed for your insurance claims, your medical claims. Are you aware of what is a medical procedure? So what you need to know is, if you have signed, if you have received a medical card, you need to go through what is the rules. Like if you are admitted in a hospital, whether you need to wait, whether you need to file the claim within 45 days, within 30 days, within 15 days. If you don't file within that time, you may not be eligible for the claim. You would also, if you're an automobile owner, like you have your own car, you have your own vehicle, you would sign for your insurance policies. You would need to know what to do in case if there's a breakdown on the road, who to call. So just spend some time in being aware of what is your insurance policy, what does it cover, is it third party, is it entire vehicle. So just be aware of what your insurance covers. What other forms do we sign? In case if you've taken a home loan, you would know how much is the EMI that you have to pay, what is the rate of interest. The government changed interest rates recently. Is that applicable for your home loan? Can you get your interest rate down? So these are a few interesting topics that you could look to discover more about where your personal finance stands. Okay, and then we have some of you might also sign financial documents when you start investing in mutual funds, or if you start investing in shares through demat accounts. Now, when you invest in a mutual fund, the first thing that you would need to do is to get your KYC done. KYC is nothing but a know your customer. So you need to upload your PAN card, your Aadhaar card, go to any CAM's website, download the KYC form and get yourself registered. This year, maybe if you have a goal, okay, this year I will save 10,000 rupees or 12,000 rupees, you need to break that down into a monthly goal. So it's more achievable, it's a smaller amount. So if you want to save 12,000 this year, maybe you start by saving 1,000 rupees this month. So if you want to put 1,000, it's very small, 1,000 will not take you very far, but just for you to get the hang of it, get into a low risk mutual fund and just put 1,000 rupees this month, just to get your KYC done, to get started, and to come into the bracket where you are aware of your finances. Okay, once you learn about it, you can increase your savings amount, meet your financial goals. Now, the next question they asked is, have you bought a vehicle on your own without consulting anyone? Now, I personally did buy a car. That was one of my goals. So when I first started working, one of the first things that I did was buy my own car. For those of you who are curious about what you need to buy your own vehicle, you need to have a driving license and you need to have the bank documents. Like either if you're paying cash, if it's a bike, it might be about 50,000, 70,000. If you're paying cash or if you're paying EMI, you would have to give a check. You would, if you're taking your car or your bike on EMI, I think they ask you for 6 blank checks, which you would have to sign. So maybe if you don't have a checkbook facility in your bank yet, get a checkbook facility done and open your bank account. You can also have your own bank account if you don't have one yet, okay, and get a bank account with the checkbook facility. They would also ask you for identity proof, and I think that should cover how you get your payments done for your first vehicle. So once you get your payment done, if you're buying it on EMI, set up the EMI such that it auto debits from your account every month. That would be a way of not forgetting and getting fined, and ensure that the balance of your EMI is always there in your bank. So if you have to pay a 5,000 EMI on your car or your bike, make sure that amount is in your bank so that you don't get fined. Okay, then have you bought an insurance policy unassisted? Now, the first thing that you would want to know is what are the insurance policies that I need to buy. So generally, LIC is very common in India, life insurance, where people buy for they get into a plan for 10 years, 15 years. So LIC is common. Medical insurance is essential. So I would say, given in the current year, like COVID and any unexpected medical emergency, having medical insurance will go a long way. You can get medical insurance for yourself or for your family. So if you have a family of 4, you can get insurance that covers your entire family. In case if you're not employed by corporate, which covers your family or just covers only yourself, but you want to get your family also covered under an insurance policy. So that's another thing that you should put on your to-do list, is to make sure that you are medically insured. So life insurance is mostly used as a savings scheme. The interest rates is not as great as if you invest in equity. I think that's a broader topic. I won't cover that on this slide, but make sure you have certain insurances to cover you. Like life insurance, vehicle insurance is mandatory in India. If you have a vehicle, you have to have vehicle insurance, and medical insurance is also something. So in case if, given the situation, you are already married, you are already following a household, then check with your spouse, check with your parents, what are the insurances that you have in your name. Another thing that I want to talk about when talking about insurance is nominations. Now, whether it's your bank account, whether it is your FD, your insurance, your mutual fund, always make sure that you have a nominee registered. Also know if you are the nominee. Now, most of my friends are married, so, and who are online right now are also married women. So if you are the nominee to your husband's mutual funds, to your husband's insurances, make sure you are aware of what their investments are, and make sure you know if the investments are in your name, make sure you have a nominee written down in those. So if you don't have a nominee, check that out this year itself. I don't wish anything bad, but God forbid something happens, you should be aware of who the nominees of your own investments are. Like, where will this money go? I might have invested and saved for the last 10 years. Who is my nominee? Who has access? If your nominee is a minor, most probably all of our children, we are not that old as yet, all of our children are still minors. So in case if our nominees are our children, if there's a minor, who will be the guardian if it's not your spouse? So you need to have certain key elements already ticked off when you adult and have your personal finances under control. Okay, so have you bought an insurance policy? Do you watch or follow the budget? Well, 2021's budget was done on February 1st this year. It was read out in the Lok Sabha. In case you've never watched the budget, you don't know where it's read out, it's just coming on TV. The budget is read out by the finance minister at the Lok Sabha. This year's budget was read out on the 1st of February. The next budget will be next year. So in February, March is usually when they have the budget. The budget might be for an hour or 2 hours, but I think it's very essential that you attend the budget. There would be live budgets recorded of the previous, or at least know the key highlights of what's happening in the budget. This year, they also, budget impacts how much salary you receive, how much tax is being cut, how much GST and SGST do you pay. All of that is impacted by the budget read out by the finance minister. So even if you come from a finance background or not, understanding the budget is really essential in managing your own personal finance. Okay. If you don't know, our finance minister is Ms. Nirmala. Now, how many I'm sorry, how many of you invest in mutual funds? So mutual funds are subject to market risk. We all know that, we hear it on TV a lot, but having some knowledge in mutual funds is essential, because that is something that will help you to grow your finances, to grow your investments. Now, we all work hard, we all get salaries, but if we are not planting some small seeds of our salary, we cannot expect that to grow. So if you, the one of the main reasons that you should be investing in mutual funds should be for your retirement. So that should be one of your goals. If you haven't started already, do start planning for your retirement. So you need to have a certain specific amount going into your retirement fund. Ideally, you should start planning for your retirement when you start working. So if you are a fresher, if you are just graduating from your MBA or from your graduate degree and you are just starting to work, make sure you get into a retirement fund as soon as possible. Even if it's a small amount, even if it's only 2,000, 3,000 rupees towards your retirement, get started on that. Get a good mutual fund which has growth potential, which is yielding dividend, and you should be taken care of. Invest in it systematically. Take this year to make different financial decisions. Like, let this year be different, and start planning for your retirement. If you need more advice on mutual funds, there's a lot of videos out there. And I'll also be doing a series of what are SIPs, what are mutual funds as we go ahead in this financial year. And do you know what is the difference between a mutual fund and an SIP? That was a question that was asked during the survey. So a mutual fund and an SIP are not different. A mutual fund, an SIP is just a systematic investment plan. So if you have a plan that, okay, I will invest 1,000 rupees this month, and if that is going in systematically every month, that is a SIP mutual fund. So it's not too different. I have a mutual fund, but I don't have an SIP. It's one and the same. Only thing is a systematic investment plan. You are planning to save a small amount every month. You can also, if you don't want to do a small amount every month, you say, okay, this month I have 25,000 extra, I got my bonus, I don't want to use it right now. You can do a lump sum deposit. So if you don't want to follow the systematic plans, you can always do a lump sum deposit. Now, do you make investment decisions for your family members or your spouse? If you haven't already, maybe you can start educating yourself into what are the financial decisions that need to be made. So even if you are not the decision maker, at least you can contribute to the decision making. So in order to do that, I want to empower you. I want to teach you how the basics of finance so that you will have an understanding of what is happening before you can make a decision. So it's essential to educate yourself. And the last question is, do you file your own income tax returns? Now, you can file your own income tax returns. It's fairly simple. You just go to the e-filing website. You just do a Google search. Take your Form 16, which your company provides you. It's almost done in the same format that the government asks for. So your Form 16, populate the details, give them the details of your salary, your basics, whether you've had any claims, whether you've had any leave, all of that is calculated. Then in the Form 80cc, you have any investments that you have for tax savings, whether you've done an insurance, things like that would go into the Form 80C, and then you finish your filing. Once you file your returns, you need to acknowledge it. You can do a acknowledgement. If your Aadhaar is linked to your PAN, you can always get that SMS and acknowledge it. And once it's acknowledged, within a month, you should receive your income tax returns. So if you haven't already done it, the last date would be in July. So you would be receiving your Form 16 for the last financial year anytime from your HR. Use your Form 16. Try and fill your income tax returns yourself this year, just to be aware of how the procedures are. It's fairly straightforward. You can always take a tutorial online, and I think you can manage to do your own income tax filing. So with this, we covered all of the questions that were asked in the survey. I hope that this small live video that I've done has helped you feel a little more empowered and will help you take another step or two forward in that gap. So I want to take systematic steps to help bridge that gap of financial literacy for women, especially. I think that there's a lot that women can contribute, and each of you should be financially independent. Don't leave these decisions for someone else. It's time that we take control of our own lives, manage our own finances. So going ahead, I will try and do lives more often, and you will see more videos from me on personal finance. I hope this small session has helped you, and all the best for the new financial years. Stay tuned. Bye.